Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event. Fight fans worldwide, you tuned into the #1 undisputed boxing podcast today. This is the Boxing Breakdown. Now, your heavy-handed, hard-hitting host, Mark Roxey.
What's up, what's up, what's up? Welcome to another edition of the Boxing Breakdown, and I am your host, Mark Roxey. I am delighted to be with you tonight, and Mano Shevitz. We got some serious boxing news. We got some stuff we want to chop up today. We are going to start off with the Ramirez versus Taylor fight. We're going to chop that up, and then we're going to get into the Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury action. There's a lot of stuff heating up with that particular contract to fight. And then we're going to close out the show with one of the things that's most exciting to me is the return to the ring of Manny Pacman Pacquiao versus Errol Spence. So it's going to be quite a show. And without further ado, I would like to welcome in to the Boxing Breakdown my good friend, partner in crime, Mr. Harold Hunt, professional boxing judge and everything boxing right here. What's up, brother?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Did you like that intro for you?
Yeah, it was very, very nice. Very nice.
Well, if I had applause, I probably would throw the applause in for you, man, because, I know you, my friend, have a lot to talk about. You know what? Before we do that, I'm going to do it.
Thank you.
That's for you, man. All right. So what's been going on, man? I've been busy the last 2 weeks for all of you out there in boxing land, the fans and listeners of the Boxing Breakdown. I apologize, but I've been very, very busy. I was filming 6 different productions in the last 3.5 weeks. So I've been super busy and I've been at the gym training but I'm back in action. Harold twisted my arm. He's like, yo, we got to get on tonight. We got to rock this tonight because there's lots to talk about. And you, my friend, are depriving our fans and listeners with all this exciting news, right, Harold? Isn't that what you said?
Yes, I did say that, yeah.
All right, man. But it's good to see you, bro. It really is. And I'm super excited to chop this stuff up. So tell me, were you able to catch the Josh Taylor Jose Ramirez fight last Saturday night in Las Vegas?
Yes, I was able to watch it. It was good. I got loads to say.
Talk to me, man. Tell me what's on your mind.
Well, as you know, we have undisputed a champion at that weight class with a 6-1 in history with the 4-belt era, starting in 1988 when the WBO first came and made the 4-belt era. So that in mind, it was a bit of history. He's from overseas, UK guy, so he's the first one to get one that came from over there, so that was good. So and all the situations, he couldn't bring any of his family over. No one was there, just his corner people.
Right.
So he couldn't even jump in the arms of his family. So just the win itself was pretty monumental. He came over here and took it. So, and unified. So that's pretty good.
Yo, that
as
was
far as the fight itself concerned, the fight started early with the press conferences because he got in Ramirez's head early in the whole thing. Early. Now they almost messed up the money fighting at the elevator in the hotel. You can't mess up the money. Somebody's hand will get hurt. Somebody could slip and twist the ankle, and the money go away.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful with that kind of staging, as far as, pushing and all that kind of stuff.
Don't mess up the money. Don't mess up the money.
Yes. It went right to the edge. So he did get in that man's head. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, man, I agree with you. I thought that the press conference and in the face-off, I felt like there was a lot of psychological warfare that took place, and I definitely can see how that may have affected Jose Ramirez just a little bit, and I definitely felt that he was really trying to pull his focus back into what he had to do, but that it did rattle him a little. That was my thought my initial thought when I saw it.
Well done, well done. As you know, a lot of fights are won at that press conference, or the press junket they do. If it's a really big fight, they run around from city to city and all that kind of stuff. So he did the job, and I think it culminated in the little pushing match they had at the hotel. So right there, I could tell that Josh had achieved kind of what he wanted to as far as Ramirez's attitude. Yeah. So the actual fight card itself, there was an upset of a gentleman who was supposed to be lauded as a great fighter. He lost to a journeyman who was brought in as a B-side to lose, and he won.
Right.
That was good. Hank Lundy, he fought, and they expect him to be really washed up. He looked pretty good. He looked decent. He'll get another job.
Oh, yeah.
And as you morph into the fight,
I thought the fight went back and forth, Harold.
Well, I thought Ramirez came in with not really a game plan. Yeah. He figured he could overrun and outwork and just dominate him and eventually break him down. That's what he thought he could do. However, as he came in, he was getting hit coming in and he was getting tied up. Hit and coming in and tied up. So as the fight went along, the first 2 or 3 rounds, that's what I saw. What you see, Mark?
Yeah, man. I thought it was a back and forth fight. I thought it was a close fight. Unfortunately, Ramirez came up short in the fight. I think the scores were somewhere around 114, 112, which I felt was a pretty good accounting for the fight. I can't say that the scorecards were, really off. But I think that early on in the fight, I felt like Ramirez really had good rhythm in the fight. I felt like he started off nice and strong. He had a lot of nice body action, a lot of nice feints. He was doing a lot of feints. Things were working for him, and there were some good things that he did in the fight. Unfortunately, I think Josh Taylor, I think I heard Josh Taylor make a comment somewhere along the line about, look, I got this guy figured out and he's just too vulnerable, is basically what he said. And I think that in looking at the fight, I can see how Josh Taylor came up, Tartan Tornado came up with that analysis, because when you look at Ramirez's work, there's a lot of places where he's vulnerable. And I think that fighting a southpaw doesn't make it easy. He was using the rear hook that I talk about on a lot of the, past programs when we talk about southpaw. The orthodox neutralizer is that rear hook, man. That rear hook comes right around the gloves, especially if you're doing what your coach usually tells you. Most coaches tell their fighters to fight a southpaw, step around, to the outside, to the southpaw's right shoulder. So that would be to the fighter's left side, and get your foot on the outside, throw the right hand in there, chuck the hook around the corner. So it's pretty, how can I say it? It's pretty remedial what most coaches go to for how to fight a southpaw. But what a lot of the coaches don't realize, Harold, is when you do that, if you're fighting a good southpaw who knows how to use the rear hook or has angles on his left hand, or even worse, has a beautiful uppercut, right? A defensive uppercut, you're gonna have a very, very rough night. And I think that's what played itself out in the fight. When you look at the fight, you can see how Ramirez was getting caught with uppercuts. That was basically one of the nemesis of Ramirez, and as well as the rear left hook. When I look at the highlights, I see that he was just taking advantage of Ramirez in those places, and it was unfortunate. But listen, man, Bob Arum. I hate to be long-winded on this one, Harold, but Bob Arum, is still like he's saying, we're going to go back to the drawing board with Ramirez. We're going to bring him back, and he's going to be better than ever. So everybody wins. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I got to break down. There's two pivotal things in the fight to me. In the fifth round, Ramirez realized, I can't beat this guy. Because he tried everything from rounds 1 through 5. He tried all of his tricks.
Right.
And nothing materialized. And he was taking some shots that he necessarily didn't see coming. As you said, the hook, that straight right hand, which had hit him a couple of times. He didn't knock him down yet. That solar plex punch straight to the box, straight to the solar plexus, all that type of stuff. Tying him up, hitting him with that straight left hand. He tried everything. He tried to bully him, and it just didn't work. Right. And in his face, I saw, I can't beat this guy. So,
you felt like that.
I saw 6th round. I saw 5th round. In the 5th round, that's what I saw.
Wow.
So he decided he went in the grind mode. I'm going to grind until either he goes or I go, and that's what he took. That's the mode he took in 6th round, and that's when he got hit.
Yeah, he got dropped. That's when he got dropped, right? He got an 8 count in that round.
He got dropped that round. I mean, it was a 5th round where he conceded, whereas the game plan wouldn't work. He couldn't beat him, and he was ready to go out on the shield. Either he goes or I go. So that was his mentality for that 6th round going forward. Right. That's when he got dropped in that 6th round. So going forward, he just was, like I said to a lot of my friends, if Taylor could fight him in between his advances, he would win. And he did exactly that. In between Ramirez's offense, he was able to get off. Yeah,
because that's where the spaces are.
And then that was it. So he was retreating, but he was retreating wisely. Yes, Ramirez was the aggressor, but it wasn't effective aggressiveness. He was just coming there throwing whatever he could throw to try to find somewhere for it to stick, but it didn't really stick. So I thought Josh Taylor fought a great fight. If you're a casual fan, you would think maybe Ramirez was winning, but he really wasn't. You have to go back and look. He was blocking a lot of the shots. He was tying them up, and he was hitting them with clean shots. So it was a great fight. It was tight. And Mark, I believe those 2 knockdowns stopped for me in the draw. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think in the 8th round, Ramirez did make it close. Taylor's uppercuts, though, man, uppercuts in that round, he really dominated that round, and then in the 9th round, I believe it was the 9th round, Ramirez really started pushing to take the round. I think he may have even gotten that round. And then the 10th. So really it was back and forth in the 10th round. Ramirez won the first half of the round, and Taylor came back strong, real strong at the end of that round. And then in the 11th and 12th, Ramirez,
he fought well. He won the 12th. In my opinion, he won the 12th round.
Yeah, it was very, very close competitive rounds. And that's what I'm saying. I can see why Bob Arum is he hasn't turned the other cheek, so to speak, on Ramirez because, it was a great accounting. I will say this. This is something I want to close out this segment on. I just want to say, Josh Taylor unified that division, right? So what does that mean? Like, what does that mean for the other guys in the division? What do you think's coming next for Josh Taylor?
Well, he has opportunity to go to 147, but he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to right now. He's not ready to go up and fight Bud at 147, so he should stay where he is. However, some other boys at 135, they can easily move up. Haney can move up. You got Garcia can move up.
Nah.
You even got Tank can move up. Everyone's going to move up to that 140. Now, he's a big 140. So let them little 135 boys come on up. Fine. He should have upper hand as far as being the bigger fight. As far as the skill set, we have to see. He's only had 18 fights.
Right.
So for him to go up to fight Bud is not smart. But for them other boys to come up to fight him, that's wise. So I see him staying right there, and he has a mandatory with the step aside guy that they paid. So he'll do that. And he'll do that overseas in his hometown at a castle somewhere or something. He plans on doing that, and then he's got to get back in the fire with one of these other guys. But he deserves to have not a walkover fight, but he needs to have a fight at home as an undisputed champion. Then he's got to get in and see where his bones are really to be made. So I say the 135 boys, all them move up. Haney and Telefino and all the boys need to move up. Go ahead and fight him at 140. Leave our boy Crawford alone.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I hear that. Crawford, man, he can't catch a break. But I will say this: the big money fight right there, Harold. And I want to know your opinion. And the fans out there too, y'all can comment. I'm going to turn on the comments here on YouTube and see what you guys have to say. Basically, Teofimo Lopez, man, unifying the division, going up there fighting Josh Taylor. Can you imagine him grabbing? He said it in our last podcast, y'all. If you haven't listened to the Boxing Breakdown, Harold and I basically for the whole interview, our mouths were hanging open. It was so powerful. Teofimo Lopez Sr. Yo, I think I'm still like affected from that podcast. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. You can find it on YouTube. You can listen to it on, any of the number of podcast partners such as Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, anywhere you get your podcast, you can check it out. You can even speak into your Alexa and be like, yo, Alexa, play the Boxing Breakdown with Mark Roxey, and it'll pop up, man. So get it, listen to it. It's really powerful. Man, but I want to listen. I want to see Harold. I need to see Teofimo Lopez, all right, dispense of this guy Cambosos, right, and get up there and fight Josh Taylor for another big money fight, man. That would be amazing for all the marbles.
Well, too many belts are involved. Too much money got to be split. Too much political crap got to happen. I don't see it happening. Tell
me more. Tell the fans why you think it won't happen.
Okay, all four belts have to split that fee money with Josh. So they all got to sanction the fight. They all got to get their money because he's representing their belt, and they in order for you to represent us, there is a fee for that. So you got that for it, and then you can't bring in another champion, and you got to split it with him too. That's just too much money that's under one roof. You got to spread that out. And you can't bring an undisputed champion, which you have to sanction fees from him, and then you got another undisputed champion. So you got all four bodies working with both fighters in one fight. That's just, there's so many other fights that can materialize that could be profitable for everybody involved instead of just putting it all in that one. So right there, I don't see that. The money will talk right there. Now, Believe it or not, I see a good fight for him after he fights his mandatory over in Europe, Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner. He's got a huge fan base in America.
Let's go, AB. Let's go. Let's get that. I'll take that. But I still need to see the Teofimo. I need to see him do that. First fighter in history to unify two divisions like that. All the belts.
But he can't sell like that. No, shout out to Mr. Lopez, but as of now, Broner would be a better fit as far as the numbers right now. Right now.
I get that. Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to the numbers, doesn't it? It all comes down to the shackles.
Yes, and Lopez can go make his own money. He's undisputed. He doesn't need, he's got mandatories or whatever. He needs to go do what he needs to do. He doesn't need to put his situation on front right now. Why?
Right. Yeah, I get that.
Now, Haney, his last fight is this weekend. His contract is up with the Zone. What is he going to do? Is he going to go over to Al? Or is he going to be a free agent like Canelo and Canelo? See, so all these dominoes have to fall.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say that. You asked the question. I never said that on the Boxing Breakdown. Al, listen, you got to do business. You got to do what you got to do, Al. But I'm not instigating anything. I'm not saying that that's going to happen or it's not going to happen. Fans, I cannot confirm or deny.
All speculation.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure I had to do that little.
You throw me underneath the bus. This guy throw me underneath the bus just like that. Okay.
Right? I just had to make sure they understood. So listen, man, we gotta. We can talk about Josh Taylor. That was a great fight, by the way. Good job, Top Rank. Good job. Well done, ESPN. So now let's move on. Let's take it over to the Gypsy King.
Let's
get over to the Gypsy King and Deontay Wilder. What you got, Harold? Come on, talk to me. Let's go.
Well, I don't know if you play spades, if you know anything about spades, but those who play spades, you got that big ace or that big joker. And you take that thing and you stick it on your forehead, and no one knows it's there because they don't know your player. The other people don't know what it is, and they can say and do whatever they want, but they sit back and they waited, and then they threw that big spade or joker out and just took the book. And that's exactly what happened because everyone has speculated, made their plane reservations and everything. That's all it was. Yeah. And then the next day it just got smashed. And that's because it was going to happen anyway. The judge was going to rule. It had nothing to do with the title. It had to do with the third fight. Who cares who had the title? The contract was for the third fight, period. Third fight.
I got that. So let's go back. Let's take our listeners through a little brief history. Let's go and just recap. How did we get here? How did this start? Where did it start? Where are we now? Let's go, Harold. Go.
All right. My understanding is there was a fight. Deontay lost. There was a rematch clause that was airtight. He exercised a rematch clause. Tyson has been known to possibly just ignore stuff like that and do what he wants to do. But this time, he figured that he could go ahead and make the fight with Joshua and possibly allow Wilder a payoff situation, ignoring the judicial situation that had to occur, that had to run its course. So some people thought that he knew that it wasn't going to happen, but he was just going through the motions. Some people believe that he actually thought he would ruin his favor. I'm not pointing fingers either way. However, the judicial thing did go through, and now Wilder has his third fight. Now, Wilder is, in fact, honing his skills, and he looks great and all of that. Mark, as you know, as a trainer, if you can actually implement some of those things that you've learned recently in a fight where you actually put those things in your mind when you're in a firefight, when you're in fight mode, that would be very impressive if he can actually do that. Personally, no offense, I just see that, about 6th, 7th round, he's going to go back to what he knows that he could clean up the show with that right hand. He's going to search for it. So I would love to see him actually implement some of these things and incorporate them. I think it would help him tremendously. But most fighters we resort to, the first thing they ever learn or their first successful endeavor, which is that right hand.
Yeah, I mean, you spoke about a lot of points. I mean, obviously, come hell or high water, the fight is happening. So we could talk about how they got there. You did give us that was a great little recap on how we got there. But at the end of the day, these guys are going to clash. They're going to meet, right? The fight is on. Supposedly it's July 24th in Las Vegas. Is that correct?
Yes. And they have a venue. It's Mr. Arm already had plan B set up. He already had it.
Yeah. So if that's the case and the fight is already set and they're going to clash, we have to talk about what is going to happen, right? What do these two guys have that could neutralize the other? And so you mentioned Deontay Wilder's right hand. You mentioned his new trainer. And they are working on a lot of new modalities and a lot of new skills. And I feel those skills should have been taught a long time ago, but they're being taught and you can see them being taught and you can see improvement. I mean, literally, what do you think? What do you guys out there, the listeners of the Boxing Breakdown, what is it that you feel? Do you feel the adjustments and some of the skill modalities that Deontay Wilder is working on are actually improving? Because when I look at him, I go, oh, snap, he's rolling punches. He's bending his knees, he's slipping punches. He's flexing in the waist. He's coming behind that nice double jab. The double jab is actually a real jab. And, not that it was not a good jab before, but when you look at him, he looks more balanced. He looks more he just looks more well proportioned. His body looks a little stronger. It's interesting is what I could say. I like to say interesting.
Okay. You're a trainer, of course, and well-versed and quite astute at what you do.
Thank you.
If you teach somebody new skills, there's a possibility they may not use those skills in the actual fight. Now, if I could go to a sparring session and see these skills actually show themselves in a heated sparring session, on a regular basis, 2 or 3 weeks out or whatever, I could get my head around it.
Fair.
But as of now, it looks good. It's like a car. You put the wax on it. It's all shiny, right? But then when it gets dirty, it's still dirty. So it looks great. It's going to sell. If he can really incorporate that stuff when he's in a firefight, that would be beautiful because all the things he's being taught now will help him against Fury. I really truly believe that. How long he can use those things and be mentally focused and use all those new skills consistently throughout the fight is the only thing I have to question. Only because history has dictated that fighters have gone in with, I got this new game plan, I got this, I got that, I got this, I got that, I'm going to do this. And they end up resorting back to their usual mode of operation.
Well, I can definitely attest to that. I can tell you I've worked with a handful of fighters where that is exactly what happens. And sometimes there's no reason, there's no, it's just what happened, right? The fighter gets hit with a shot, you're going to resort to your old tactics, you're distracted, whatever it is. That's part of the mental, psychological work that has to be done with a fighter early on in the camp. And it's consistently driven all the way to the fight. So I'm sure Deontay Wilder's trainer is doing that work and to prepare him to be able to execute what they're working on in training and in sparring. But I think the one thing that's worth pointing out, worth talking about, Harold, is that you got to know Deontay Wilder. For those of you listening in, Deontay Wilder's record is 42-1-1. with 41 KOs. So you're not really talking about a fighter that is relatively new to the sport. You're talking about a guy that's been in the ring 44 times. 44. Well, 42, whatever the number is, 44. I think my math tells me it's 44. But,
right.
He's been in the ring for 44 times, not to mention his amateur experience and all the sparring. He's pretty much used to doing things a certain way. Now, some guys can accumulate that knowledge and add to their skills, and that's what's going to be needed here. He's going to need to be able to execute the things that have been worked on. But in the end of the day, this is a fight. It's a close fight. It's going to happen close up. It's not going to happen at range. It's not going to happen at range. And that's whether Deontay Wilder is pursuing Fury or not. The way that I anticipate this fight going down is it's going to be at mid-range. That means either one of these boys can get knocked out at any time. So, Tyson Fury, right? The Gypsy King is 30-0 with one draw and 21 wins coming by way of KO. So, he doesn't have as much experience as Wilder on paper. So the question becomes, yes, he did win the last fight. Fury did win the last fight, but now is it a better, more improved Deontay Wilder? Is his head clear? Does he have more trust in his corner and in his camp? It's yet to be seen. It certainly looks like he's more comfortable with his trainer. It looks like he's more comfortable in the situation that he brought to pass. He brought this situation up. He made it what it is. So let's see, whether or not he can pull off the victory. It's very, very interesting. I can't wait to see the fight. The fight does take place in Las Vegas on, again, as I said before, July 24th. And Fury's promoter is Bob Arum. So, this is, I don't think they decided what arena it's going to happen in, right? I think they're
I believe it was the Alliance. Okay,
it is, because at last I heard, and again, I've been loopy around doing a lot of other things, but I understood that they were looking at the MGM, the T-Mobile Arena, and the one that you just mentioned as well.
Oh,
so I
heard truly was T-Mobile.
Okay. T-Mobile. It is T-Mobile, or
that's the last I heard, but it is still undecided supposedly.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Is what it is.
I'm sorry to the Boxing Breakdown fans that we don't know which one of the arenas it's taking place in, but this we don't know. We don't know everything. But what we do know is it's going down on July 24th, and that's going to be a mega, mega fight. I believe Fury is entitled to 60% of the purse, right?
Yes.
And Deontay Wilder settled for 40%. A 40% split, so it's 60-40. That's pretty cool. Sounds to me like this is really not about the money for Deontay Wilder.
Yes, I don't think so either. It's just he wants to rebound mentally off his loss, and he wants to sit right back in the fire. Shane Mosley did that with Vernon Forrest, and it didn't work out. I'm not saying it won't work out, but I understand the thought process with other fighters to come right back and justify the situation. So he's going to do that. If Fury puts him back on the back foot again, you may have the same kind of results. He may not knock him out or stop him, but if they go a distance, but he'll stay on his back foot the whole fight and he'll win on points. If he's able to get Fury to back up and move him around and readjust, then we'll have a fight. But if Fury comes out and just bullying him as he did in the fight he won, it'll go the distance, but with Fury as a victor. Because, Deontay will hit him, but obviously there's something that Fury can do to not absorb that punch.
Yeah. No, man, it's going to be quite a fight. I'm really excited. Now, we didn't talk about the other character in the story, and that is Anthony Joshua.
Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, what is going on with Anthony Joshua in light of this? Bring us up to speed, Harold.
Well, he in fact has to defend his belt against Alexander Usyk. That will happen. So he has to peel off and do that. Now, he gets 80% of the purse, and Usyk gets 20% of the purse. So those numbers really look good for him. His face is kind of broken because he really wanted to have that opportunity. But he gets to defend the IBO belt, and we have to go through the alphabet thing all over again. I like it, really. I like the anticipation of it all having to come together again. Because this anticipation of this thing that didn't work was still fun. It was great. This is going to happen. It's not going to happen. This, that. It was great. And then when it fell apart, but it was still enjoyable. So now we get to do it all over again. We get to build back up to it. So I'm not frustrated when things don't happen. I enjoy the build up of the possibilities and all of that. Because it eventually is going to happen because there's too much money out there. But for right now, okay, it fell apart. But let's see the Deontay Wilder and Fury thing. Let's see Usyk and Mr. Joshua, and see what happens from there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what happens? Yeah, there's a lot of what happens here, bro. Because I mean, you got Harold. If Fury loses to Wilder, that puts him in a position to face probably Joshua, provided, well, either way, I mean, whether Joshua wins or loses against Usyk, that fight would happen anyway, right? Because that's going to be an revenge kind of fight anyway, right?
The belts need to stay intact. The belts need so we can have an undisputed thing. That is the big deal. The belts got to stay intact. Now, of course, the fighters sell, people will watch it and whatever. But if you can keep the belts intact, that'd be beautiful.
Yeah, that would be beautiful. Well, lots to come on the Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury saga. It's this is going to dominate the headlines in the coming weeks, and this is a historic fight in many ways. I mean, we're living history right now, so y'all definitely want to tune in on July 24th in Las Vegas, whatever arena they choose, to watch this fight, because it definitely is going to be an amazing fight, and I'll be there with you. Harold and I will probably call the fight on the night of the fight on the Boxing Breakdown right here on YouTube, and also on Google Podcast and Apple Podcast. So I just wanted to switch gears once again and kind of get into the Manny Pacman Pacquiao fight against Errol Spence. What's up with that, man? Like, that to me, that fight is a must-see TV for me, because, as you know, Pacman is the man. I love Manny Pacquiao, and nothing would make me happier than to see the old man. Well, sorry, no disrespect by saying you're an old man, but you definitely have been around, and your record shows it. I just would love to see you bring home the victory, man. 62-7 with 2 draws, 39 of those wins coming by way of KO. 3 of those losses coming by way of KO. All memorable fights. There isn't, you look at this, you look at Manny Pacquiao's record, man. How can you not just love this guy, and unfortunately, the fight with Errol Spence looks like a record grab, I guess you could say. What do you think, Harold?
Well, some people say it's a swan song. He's going to apply everything he can to see if he can actually win the fight. Is a possibility he could win the fight, obviously, of course, because he is Pacman and he does have a IQ. But on the other side of the fence, you have to look at our man, Mr. Spence. Now, he is in his prime. when you have a life-changing type situation, your entire focus on your life is completely different. Mark, you know this. I know people who've had strokes. I know people who've been in major car wrecks or whatever, things with, this personal life. And once they get through that and they're still alive, their attitude is completely different. Their focus is completely different. So Spence may not even be at all because he is Pacquiao, because he said, I almost died. There's nothing that's going to deter me from completing my life's task. So with that in mind, the intimidation factor, the bigness of the fight is not going to do anything for Spence. And that is a disadvantage to Pacquiao, in my opinion. Then Pacquiao does have age on him, which is good, but Pacquiao fights at such a tremendous pace and angles that it's just going to be a great fight. So I can't pick a winner right now. I just can't do it just because styles make fights. And right now, Pacquiao has a style that you really can't prepare for. And all of his losses, just like you said, they were spectacular losses because he was attacking. He has never been beat down. He has never been a loss because he wilted. Nothing like that, ever. And he's been off 2 years here, and he'll have an opportunity to really hone himself into shape, and it's just going to be good.
Yeah, it is going to be good, and it is going to be a blood and guts fight, man. I mean, it's going to be a real fight because, excuse me, but Pacquiao's going to hit him at all the angles, and Errol Spence is going to have to work, and they're both southpaws, right?
Yes.
Ooh,
yes.
Listen, that is no fun. The only thing worse than fighting a southpaw is having another southpaw fight a southpaw.
Because your advantages, from my standpoint, you're the trainer. From my standpoint, your advantages are gone. You don't have that advantage anymore.
You don't.
Now, we know Pacman knows how to fight either side very, very well. We know that. We've seen that over his career. Spence, not so much. We haven't seen enough. He's had a lot of fights, but we haven't seen him straight up with a southpaw that can go. So with those advantages that he would usually have, he's not going to have those. So that's going to be interesting too. Is he going to come behind that jab after a southpaw like that? What's he going to do?
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. It's I'm going back into Manny Pacquiao's record, and the only southpaw that I see that he's ever fought was Miguel Cotto, who was really not a southpaw. He was a southpaw, but he was converted to orthodox for his power up in the front. And I can't really, I may be mistaken, but I do not believe. I mean, there's got to be a southpaw somewhere down in there. I mean, there's no way I'm going to go through all his record in less than 5 seconds here. But in recent past, he has not fought another southpaw. And then
De La Hoya was a switch, was a converted also.
Yeah.
But yes, as far as to tell the tape saying who's a southpaw. Yeah, we would have to go back in his record and see, but he's had success against southpaws.
Yeah, I mean, you mean Errol Spence?
Who we're talking about? Pacman?
I'm talking about Pacman. I'm saying to you and to the listeners that I don't see that Pacman has had much experience in the last 5 years with fighting a southpaw. There may be some, I mean, he's got 60, 70 something fights or whatever. So there's got to be somebody back there that he fought that was a southpaw, I'm sure. But he generally doesn't have a lot of experience fighting southpaws. So I feel like that is an advantage for Errol Spence because I believe Errol Spence has more experience fighting southpaws. Errol Spence is the bigger man, right? He's naturally bigger, right? So they're both welterweights, but if you look at them side by side, if you look at their, the tail of the tape, you would see that Manny Pacquiao definitely is a smaller fighter. But maybe, who knows on weigh-in day how they look, and
right. And rehydration is going to be a monster because Spence is really going to pick up a lot that night before.
Yeah, and I didn't mention that Errol Spence's record is 27-0 with 21 wins coming by way of KO. So the experience level, there's a drastic experience level between Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence Jr. on paper. Now, how that plays itself out in the ring is yet to be determined. I'm sure you listeners out there and you, Harold, probably have an opinion on that.
Yes, I do.
But well, I am.
As you know, Spence did the tour. He's an amateur. So he ran around the world fighting all different kinds of styles. So he's seen it all. Yes, he only has under 30 fights, so be it. Pacman didn't do that. He learned on the job. So to me, the 60 and the 27 fights, they kind of wash out because that same type of work and experience was garnered through those 60 fights that Spence was able to pick up internationally in the amateur rank. So
yeah,
we can look at Lomachenko.
Yeah,
and know that the amateur doesn't necessarily translate into lack of experience.
Well, I will tell you this. When you look at the two side by side, Manny Pacquiao's been a professional fighter since 1995. Errol Spence has been a professional fighter since 2012. Right?
That's a big jump.
Yeah, man. That's serious business. I mean, you're talking about, a lot of years between the two fighters. And but I am very excited to see Manny Pacquiao back in the ring. He is one of those fighters that falls in my top 10 of all time. And I am definitely a big supporter of Manny Pacquiao and a fan of his work and his work inside and outside of the ring. It'd be interesting to see how the car accident plays into the two of them fighting. I love Errol Spence. I think he's a absolutely talented fighter. For all intent and purposes, I do believe that Errol Spence should win the fight. But I certainly would love to see Manny Pacquiao win the fight. So it should be very interesting, Harold. Do you have a prediction at all about who you think might win?
Well, the car wreck is in the past. It's obvious that did not affect him by the way he handled Garcia. Because he was right in the lines there with Garcia, and Garcia is a monster in there, and he was able to deal with that and take those punches. So I don't think there's any issue with that. Of course, it's going to be good fodder for the media, but I don't think that's the factor.
Right.
As far as who can, in my opinion, at this point, just fresh on it and just thinking about it, I just see Pacman coming in so many different angles and the hand speed and the Tasmanian devil type thing and all of it. And I see Errol have to grab out and grab him and tie him up and then get him back out in the space and then come with his work, his 1-2, his methodical, beat down. But then Pacman comes on with the swarming style. You got to grab him again, tie him up, set back up again. So how that dynamic works out, who has to reset every time, who can continue on their work and not be stopped by the referee. The right referee's got to be there for this kind of thing because you got the bigger man, you got the smaller man, you got the busier man, you got the methodical man. Everything has to be. The referee has to really know what he's doing to deal with this fight here.
Right. Yeah, no, I get it. I totally get that, man. I listen, all I can say is that the boxing fans, everything is open back up. Not everything, but most things are opening back up. Fans are flocking back to the arenas. Boxing is heating up. I am sure all the promoters are fired up with the prospects of what the year to come will look like. And I'm sure instead of, blocking out one fight at a time, one show at a time. They're taking a look at their entire year ahead. And soon enough, you're going to see all of the top promoters coming out with the most amazing cards that are going to just be so exciting for all of us boxing fans. And the casuals and the insiders, it's just going to be absolutely incredible. Boxers, stay in the gym, get ready, because it's going to be an absolutely incredible year coming up of boxing, championship boxing, amateur boxing, right? Club shows, everything's going to be just off the chain. And yeah, man. So tune in to the next episode of the Boxing Breakdown. Don't miss it. Share it with your friends. Tell people about the broadcast. We'd love for other people to join in on the conversation and be with us here on the Boxing Breakdown. And again, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. You can get us on the Alexa app and anywhere you get your podcasts. And also make sure you hit the like button below and the subscribe button below, because we definitely are, we're just starting out and we're looking to build our subscriber base here. So
yes, we are.
Please hit that button right down there. Right? Hit it, like it, do whatever you got to do down there. Tell some friends, share it. We really appreciate that. And we look forward to getting together again for another episode of the Boxing Breakdown. And Harold, as usual, thank you so much for being on the program. Peace and love. Until next time, we're out.
See ya.
Fight fans, join host Mark Roxey and special guests as they break down all aspects of the boxing world, including news, business, management, training, promotions, fan reactions, upcoming events, matchups, future boxing stars, title fights, state of the boxing world, and all the stuff you don't see when you watch boxing. This podcast is released each week on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live streamed on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook Live. It's the Boxing Breakdown, hosted by Mark Roxey.